When we look at Earth today, it appears as a perfectly balanced blue marble. But rewind the clock 4.6 billion years, and you would find a toxic, molten wasteland entirely incapable of supporting life. The story starts inside a swirling molecular cloud. Gravity pulled the heaviest materials to the center to ignite our sun, while the leftover dust and particles swirling in the outer disk slowly clumped together to form the early Earth. During this period, known as the Hadean Eon, the surface was covered in a semi-molten crust. The average global temperature hovered around 446 degrees Fahrenheit. A rogue planet named Theia then slammed into this early Earth. The impact ripped away massive chunks of debris that eventually coalesced into our moon, establishing the gravitational pull necessary to form ocean tides. The heat from that collision vaporized heavy elements and enveloped the globe in a dense, suffocating atmosphere of carbon dioxide, sulfur, and helium. We now had a solidifying rock, immense gravity, and a thick atmosphere. But without liquid water to cool the surface and mix organic compounds, the Earth remained a volatile, sterile sphere. About 4 billion years ago, the inner solar system entered a chaotic phase known as the Late Heavy Bombardment. Earth was subjected to a relentless barrage of cosmic impacts, with large objects striking the surface every few centuries. These incoming comets were essentially giant, dirty cosmic snowballs made of dust and ice. As they crashed into the planet over millions of years, they acted as a massive delivery system, depositing the first significant volumes of water onto the scorching surface. This influx of water allowed the crust to cool down, pooling into the first liquid oceans. Meanwhile, tectonic activity began pushing these early land masses together, forming a massive supercontinent called Volbara. The intersection of Volbara's stable coastlines and these newly formed oceans created a rich, shallow chemical mixing bowl. The physical stage was finally set for the earliest single-celled organisms to emerge. This image shows fossilized structures known as stromatolites. They prove the physical scale of ancient colonies of cyanobacteria, Earth's first biological engineers, which thrived along the coasts of Volbara by consuming the thick carbon dioxide in the air. These microbes pioneered a highly effective biological mechanism to survive. They absorbed sunlight to process the dense carbon dioxide into energy, and then excreted a steady stream of oxygen as a waste product. If we look at this rock formation, we can see distinct bands of rust. The bacteria's oxygen immediately bonded with iron, turning oceans blood red until it sank. With the iron sponge eventually exhausted, that highly reactive oxygen accumulated unchecked in the atmosphere. Because oxygen replaced the insulating greenhouse gases, the planet lost its ability to trap heat. Global temperatures plummeted, triggering a 200 million year deep freeze known as the Huronian glaciation, effectively turning the planet into a giant snowball. By simply breathing, early life engineered a toxic atmosphere and a frozen world. They nearly drove themselves to extinction through their own biological innovation. When the ice finally retreated, it left behind a bleak, nutrient-poor environment. The ocean spent the next billion years locked in a stagnant state that paleontologists literally refer to as the boring billion. To survive this depleted environment, single-celled life was forced to adapt. A new type of complex cell emerged, known as a eukaryote, which figured out how to utilize that once toxic oxygen to generate energy. This diagram shows how eukaryotes split into 3 distinct survival strategies based on how they sourced their food. Some became producers, harnessing the sun. Others became decomposers, breaking down dead matter. And a third group became consumers, hunting and eating other organisms. The pressure to find energy in a competitive ocean drove the next massive leap. Individual cells stopped trying to survive on their own and began banding together to form cooperative multicellular structures. This cooperation yielded an entirely new class of life. The fossil record shows the emergence of primitive sea sponges, like Octavia, marking the arrival of the very first animals. We often think of nature as a peaceful, nurturing force, but the complex multicellular bodies we inhabit today were forced into existence by relentless cosmic bombardments, toxic atmospheric pollution, and catastrophic ice ages.